Okay, we are in the arena now. Democrats have their man. Troy Jackson is the nominee to take on Susan Collins. This time last week, we were talking about this being a rare, interesting, high-stakes open convention. Didn't exactly work out that way. I know that you're discussing that in the podcast this week, guys. Pat, help us understand. I know that this was a busy process Saturday and Sunday last weekend. How did Jackson, from your understanding, shore up all these delegates to get to this point?
Well, it's a good old-fashioned ground game, and I suspect that people on Team Troy probably were thinking about this as Graham Plattner's baggage got heavier and heavier along the way and said, what if? What if he's out and we want to get Troy in there? How would we do it? How they did it was contacting his hardcore supporters, insisting or urging them to run to become a delegate at this convention and to pledge to the campaign that you will support Troy, even though officially everybody who went to the convention was uncommitted.
We've heard from some people within the last week or so, they wanted to serve as a delegate. They weren't pleased with the process. Do you think that this is fair? Does it reflect the will of the people?
It definitely reflects the will of the people. You know, a recent poll just came out that showed that, you know, Troy was the choice of the Democrats in the state by a majority in this multi-person race. So clearly the people, the Democrats in the state of Maine wanted this. You know, was it an insider game? Yes, but there was no choice. We had about 2 weeks. I think the Democratic Party did a very good job of figuring out how do we bring as many people together as possible to give them an opportunity to vote. Thousands of people voted this weekend, had their voice heard. Most people don't care about any of this. They just want to know who the nominee is. And I think they got the choice that people wanted.
Phil, how about you? From the outside looking in, any impressions of this decision-making process?
Yeah, this was an inside job, and Troy got the nomination.
Sounds like a bank heist.
Yeah, or the coronation, whatever you want to describe it as. But I look at it from the outside. This could have been. There were 300 press credentials being asked for. This was going to be broadcast in a candidate debate by national television. This was a big deal to people who could come and watch an open convention for the first time in, I don't know, decades, where you nominated a candidate at a convention. All of that got wiped away, and therefore I don't think the will of the people who wanted to see this unfold with their own eyes got what they needed.
The other high-profile candidates wasted little time getting out of the race last weekend. Shenna Bellows, Dan Kleben, Nirav Shah. Were you surprised at all that they got out so quickly, especially taking into consideration?
Yeah, I thought these delegates were going, asked to be elected as a delegate to go to this one-day convention as I'm going there with an open mind and listen to the candidates and vote for the one that I think best represents the Democratic Party. All of that got swept away with, as as Pat described, Jackson had his act together.
And I think these candidates did the right thing. They realized that Troy's going to be the nominee, so why are we going to carry this fight forward? The fight that matters is the fight of defeating Susan Collins. And so Democrats all said, you know what, when it's clear who our nominee is, let's get focused on who we need to defeat to try to get this seat back to the people of Maine.
Phil, Senator Collins was asked on the Hill in the last week about Jackson. She told a reporter that he's had quite the transformation politically over the last couple decades and now seems to be firmly aligned, the senator's words here, with the Democratic Socialists.
Yeah, well, that's a fact. He went from a pro-life Republican to a what some describe as a Bernie bro. Right? Quite a transformation. Yeah, she's right.
Ethan, if you're advising Troy Jackson, how do you talk about your voting record and your story of how he came to be in the position where he is now?
Exactly as he's talking about it, which is that, he stands up and says, I took a wrong vote on those, and I was in the wrong place, and I listened to people, and I listened to Mainers, and I changed my position. I think people like that honesty when people learn more about an issue. You have to be willing to talk about it. He's not trying to deny it. He's not trying to move away from it, as often happens. He's saying, look, you're right. When I first started, I came from a Catholic district. Those were the things that I had grown up with. But then I started talking to women. I started realizing I'm on the wrong side of this issue, and he changed. That kind of honesty is what Maine people want.